dance moves. That's the thing. When you like hit a day hungover, you just gotta go for it. You gotta lean in.
You just gotta dance. I don't really think like
dance.
moving around is gonna be what's good for me. I haven't touched like my hair or makeup or anything. I literally rolled out of bed this morning.
Rolled out of bed, took the fishnets off.
I didn't even take the fishnets off, Jeffrey. They're still on. I just put pants over them. Like, fuck. I can't party with youngins anymore.
Good morning, everyone. It is March 15th. The Friday. This is Dork Duck Daily. Every day, Monday through Friday, we come to you, bring you your geeky news and all other sorts of.
Most of the time, we're not hungover.
I'm doing pretty good.
Good. I'm fucking glad you're doing good.
All sorts of other shenanigans. If you can always catch the show live on Facebook and Twitch, or if you're watching later on things like YouTube, you can do that, or you put it up on podcast feeds.
Yeah.
And then you find out later that Selena is hungover for. That was maybe the most young people I've seen at a concert ever.
Yeah, there was a lot of parents there too. It was, but like not like. I mean, they were cool parents. They took their kids to a show, but like they weren't like cool parents. Like they were like hanging out in the crowd.
Yeah, it was one of those things where I'm like, I may be too old for this concert, but I'm not sure. And then they're like, wave your hands in the air. And I just saw all these hands with X's on their hand. I was like, oh boy.
Yeah. And I'm short and I have kind of a baby face, so I can blend in. But the second I raise my hand up and you see the wristband, it's like, oh, she's not one of us. She's old enough to drink. And boy, did I drink.
You're like, I'm going to drink till I don't feel too old for this.
Yep. And it only took 1.5 drinks.
Drew says, I haven't hit the day hungover in like a decade, but I remember the only thing that got me going was so much coffee. Definitely not energy drinks. That shit is dehydrating and will make it worse. Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm pretty much these days for the most part. Not saying I never make mistakes, but like on a night like last night, I had like 2 or 3 beers. I was not.
Very soft, and I went very hard.
Like, you were having an existential crisis. Where you're like, this is. I feel like this is speaking to my 13. So we got taken by friends to a concert. We did not pick the bands, and the friends are younger than us, younger than Selena even. And
well, not by much, but yeah.
And so we didn't like pick the groups that we were seeing. And then Selena had this moment of like, oh my God, I would have vibed so hard with this, but I don't feel like I'm allowed to because I'm old, which is insane because she's like only 28. But she was we've all been there, had that existential crisis. And then she was like, I think she was like, I'm going to drink till I don't feel old.
Yeah, and it took 1.5 drinks, and then I was like,
it doesn't take much for her, yeah.
Yeah, and I was good. I was like, oh shit, like I'm not old, and I can enjoy this music.
Drew says I'm a goddess and can't make mistakes. That's true. Perfect. No, I overdrank like maybe a month ago, and it's been a lot easier to. Once you have a night like that, it's a lot easier to. It was 2 months ago, something like that. Mm-hmm. Once you have a night like that, it's a lot easier to be responsible. You get one of those that kind of reminds you of where the boundary lines are of just like, oh yeah, this can turn real bad real fast. Not going to do that again for a while, and I'm sure I will like in another year or two. But it was a fun night though.
I just knew that I couldn't puke because, like, it's not great to puke at a show anyway, but it's really not great to be that one like almost 30-year-old woman in the bathroom puking while a bunch of teenagers are just trying to like pee and go home sober. and me.
Mom, Dad,
yeah,
there's something going on in the bathroom.
There's this lady in there. No, it was me and my friend. who was also, she's only a couple years younger than me, so she was also drunk, and we were just like screaming about Taco Bell in that bathroom, and like some of the teenagers were like, fuck yeah, Taco Bell, and we were like, yeah, but they didn't get it because they weren't drunk.
The main act, Drew, was No Offense, which is like, it's just young queer Green Day. And, like, because I didn't listen to any of it till we got there, and I was like, oh, this is just Green Day. They're just being Green Day up there. But like anytime I like had heard anything, they need to fire whoever mixes their tracks because they sound way too poppy. Like they're in the show, it was just fucking Green Day.
Oh, it was good. Like, and I was drunk, but like I think even if I wasn't drunk, I would have just been like, oh heck yeah! Like it was really easy music to get hype.
And he
to.
looks and acts just like Billy Joe. He's like this young trans dude, but he like it. If you told me he was Billy Joe's son, I would be like, okay, that makes sense. Like,
yeah, no.
But I was like the old guy that I was like, hey, it's Green Day up there. Oh, they look like babies.
Yeah.
Selena vibed really hard with the middle act, which was like, they were like
TX2.
They were real cringy, but in the best kind of fun
way. But in like the way that spoke to my little angsty teenage heart.
They were so angsty.
It was like Escape the Fate, but like.
But they were little 20-year-olds.
Yeah, and it was like more pop punk than Escape the Fate was back in the day. Because like 12, 13-year-old me was listening to like Escape the Fate, but they were like, they went harder than they do now. And like, so now it's more poppy, but it still speaks to my little.
I was really into the openers because they were literally like a fucking two-piece.
Yeah.
They're both from Australia.
They were really cool.
Their name was Teenage Jones, and it was like, but again, like, No Offense, which is like spelled like Noah, the name Noah, and then Fence, which is like very, but like they're basically Green Day to the point that like they're a three-piece. It's just like a dude on guitar and vocals, dude on bass, dude playing the drum. That's all it is. By the time I was seeing Green Day in high school, they had like added that like quiet fourth member who was playing the guitar because Billy Joel couldn't quite hit the chords anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like seeing early Grey. It was very cool. But that opening act, there was literally just two of them, and I don't know how they got the sound that they did out of everything. It was just a drummer and a guitar player. They're both ladies from Australia. And just in between every act, they're like, "What do you guys call McDonald's here?"
Yeah.
I forget what they said.
I have no idea. I don't remember.
It's pretty great though.
They were cool. But they were so like not not necessarily chill, but like a very like kind of like a light grungy feel to them.
Yeah.
And it made me happy. And then the second act came on, and they were like so intense that like.
Oh, it was so funny because like my thing always because like my partner and person I love is someone of very short stature.
Correct.
And so like my goal is always like, how do I get her to where she can see? I got to get her to the front. And like usually for a concert, it's like you can get to the front, but it involves a little
shimmy. No, everyone there was very nice and accommodating.
Well, they were all 15 and they didn't know how to concert. So it was like there was like you could just walk around them all the way up to the front. It was the weirdest thing. I've never seen it before. And then during the second act, they literally taught them how to they taught them how to mosh. It was the most adorable thing.
So cute.
Like the singer was like literally like, "Do you guys know what a mosh pit is?" Like, okay, we're gonna make a circle here. You guys are gonna, and it was all these like beautiful young queer teens, just like, all right.
Yeah, they were like so gentle with the moshing too. It was so cute.
But like once they did that, then it like started to feel like a concert again with people like, oh, we can like,
yeah,
we can get up front. Okay.
Yeah. Also, I think a lot of people there thought that I was at least not teenage.
At one point, a 15-year-old was like, "Oh, you're short, sweetheart. Let me move you."
And I was just like, "Okay." Like I am like, if I'm almost 30, like, but you know, it got me up front, and also I'm really short, so like, I used to feel bad about trying to get up front in concerts because I was like, well, Like, unless I'm like very, very, very like passionate about who I'm seeing, just because I'm like, other people deserve to be in front of me because they might like this artist more than I do. And now I'm just like, bro, I'm short. Like, you can see over my head, and like, it's fine. Do the like photo method where like in school photos where they put the shortest person up front. Yeah, that's how I see it.
They should just like stage concerts that way.
Yeah, call me up front instantly, right? As soon as I walk in the door, be like, oh, she's 4'9".
Yeah, that second concert was it's probably Julie. I would assume.
Scared me.
I was like, no. Like, we locked that door.
I did lock the door.
That second concert was probably just insane for me because like all those 15-year-olds that were around us that were like these 15-year-old girls that were like all gothed out, so excited to see that second band. And like they were so beautifully cringy. Like it was,
but cringe is free.
Yeah. But they were just like everything was so angsty. They're like, this is for all of you that hate your parents. Woo!
Yeah,
like, it was that, and we were surrounded by these 15-year-old girls that knew every single word,
and they were like scream singing,
cry singing it. They're like,
aww.
It was adorable, and it was great. And it was like that aspect.
I'm so glad that I got to like see that too, because as a teenager, I went to a couple shows, but like my grandparents were very much like, the one time I dragged my grandma to a concert I really wanted to go to, or like, a show I really wanted to go to. It was at Headliners in Toledo. I don't know if you guys know or remember. I don't even know if that's still a place anymore, but like it was like I want to say like Devil Wears Prada.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like bands like that, like screamo.
I saw the Devil Wears Prada.
I know there was a T-shirt involved, and
that an ex-girlfriend got that you're still very upset about.
So mad. Like if there's a way for that T-shirt to get mailed back to me, I realize I say mailed back to me as if it was my T-shirt in the first place, but that's because it was my T-shirt in the first place.
It always belonged to you.
It did.
Every day here on Dork Duck Daily, we don't just cover concert shenanigans. We also cover all the news. You may not necessarily be the news you need, but the news you need.
Bestie, I was not done with my story. I literally just said where the concert was and who I saw, and you were like, "It's time for the news." It's fine. I just wanted to tell you.
Okay. Do you want me to stop with my pivot to the news?
Can I have 30 seconds?
Yeah, you can have 30 seconds.
I almost said 30 seconds on the floor. Can I just take 30 seconds?
We just have some floor time.
Sit on the floor. No, but like the one time I took my grandma to a show like that was like very, very like intense screamo, the moshing was not gentle moshing that was happening there. Like there were elbows being thrown. My friend and I, there was like a couple guys there that were like, okay, we have to protect these tiny girls because we were like 13. But if we had entered that mosh pit, we both would have probably gotten heavily injured. Anyway, that was the vibe. And my grandma was like, I fucking hate this. This is the worst time of my life. At one point, she had to like leave because she said the music was so like loud and like it was like assaulting her basically. And she was like, I have to go. I feel nauseous. And she went out to the car. And after that, I felt really bad about like dragging my 50-year-old grandma to concerts like that. So also like she kind of was like never again. So I only got
she took you in the first place.
Yeah, it is. And like, but also she like very much thought that she needed to like police me and what I was doing, which is probably like a good thing in those kind of settings. So I didn't get like kidnapped or something. But after that, as like an older teenager, I still wasn't like allowed to go to shows like that. So
you didn't ever like go by yourself or anything?
No.
Okay.
I did as I got older, and then my very much older than me boyfriend took me to like shows, but like by then I was 18. So
Dylan says a couple months ago I puked in the Buffalo Sabres practice arena on a Sunday morning during a kids hockey tournament.
Whoa.
Because the night before it's a lot easier to abstain from I had a very similar experience. my gaming group went from drinking beer to drinking whiskey, which at first I was very excited about because I very much enjoy whiskey. And
then he went too hard.
I went too hard. And then it was...
Yeah.
The car's still not been the same.
Oh, it is now because your girl cleaned it yesterday. I killed it yesterday.
Drew says, I'll take gently moshing over getting kneed in the kidney like the last time I was in a mosh pit. And also he says floor time's important.
It is important.
Okay. Do I have your blessing to pivot?
Yeah, you do. You didn't. I just wanted to finish my story.
That's what I was asking if we're good to go.
Okay.
Every day we cover all the news. Maybe that not the news you supposedly need, but it's the news you need. I don't know. We got to work on that. We'll figure the phrasing out. Because we went with like it's not the news you need, it's the news you want, but that doesn't quite work either. But we like to call that segment the Daily Quack. All right.
What's first on the agenda?
The Crow is reborn all over again as Bill Skarsgård this time. It's from Mary Kate Carr at the AV Club. There's a big Crow trailer that dropped yesterday. Says the Crow has been resurrected in both literal and figurative way. The new trailer depicts the rebirth of Eric Draven, but it's also the rebirth of the franchise. Brandon Lee played Eric back in the 1994 film, was tragically killed in an on-set accident, which spawned several sequels with different characters taking up the Crow mantle. 30 years later, in what has been described as a reimagining of James O'Barr, we're returning to Eric and his quest for vengeance and for his lost love, Shelley.
How do you say her name? The actress?
Because
I know that artist.
Twigs? FK Twigs? Is that what that says?
Yeah. Didn't she date Shia LaBeouf?
I think so.
There was a whole thing about how horrible he was to her.
He kind of, he was kind of.
He went off. Yeah, I was gonna say he went off an end.
There's
somewhere.
there's that really rough. I think it's a Jimmy Kimmel spot where like he's coming. It feels like a Bill Burnham sketch because like it's
Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, because Shia LaBeouf is on like Jimmy Kimmel and he's like talking about the night he got arrested for a drink, and as he's saying things, the crowd and everyone like thinks they're like ha 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 ha.
Yeah,
but he's just saying like these
very unhinged, not great things.
Yeah, it's very weird. According to the synopsis for the film, soulmates Eric Draven and Shelley Webster are brutally murdered when the demons of her dark past catch up with them. Given the chance to save his true love by sacrificing himself, Eric sets out to seek merciless revenge on their killers, traversing the world of living and the dead to put the wrong things right. The Crow has experienced many iterations over the years in development before it became the version we see in this trailer. According to the Wrap, at various points, Bradley Cooper, Mark Wahlberg, Tom Hiddleston, Luke Evans, and Jason Momoa were all lined up to play Eric. And filmmakers like Stephen Norrington, Juan Carlos Fresadillo, and F. Javier Gutierrez were signed on to direct. Eventually, it ended up in Rupert Sanders of Snow White and the Huntsman fame or Ghost in the Shell. What drew me to this was the opportunity to make a dark romance. Something that dealt with loss, grief, and the ethereal veil between life and death. And reaching through that, Saunders told Vanity Fair, "Look, I grew up listening to Joy Division and The Cure, and this movie is a bit like a Cure song."
Oh, okay, yeah.
The beauty of...
that makes sense. And that the old movie is definitely like... gives me the Cure vibes.
Well, it's Robert Smith, right? The Cure guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he like wrote big pieces of that soundtrack.
Did he?
Yeah, the first movie...
Dang.
The first movie's incredible.
It's been a while since I've seen the first movie, but I remember really, really liking it and always being like, okay, I don't like need to watch the rest of them. Like,
no, you
anything.
don't.
I'm done.
You don't need to watch this movie either.
I'm gonna.
Sanders' spin explores the romance between Shelley and Eric more deeply before the tragedy tears them apart. It also includes a new look for Eric, which was inspired by the director himself. In the 90s, when we were squat raving in London, as well as all the modern stars like Post Malone and Lil Peep.
It does gives Lil Peep vibes. Okay.
He says, I hope people who are 19 today look at him and go, that guy is us, the director said.
Oh.
The Crow, which premieres June 7th, also stars Danny Houston, Laura Byrne, Sammy... should try. I'm ruining names this word. Boahila? Boahila? I don't know.
I'm not going to even try. He brings up a good point. Like, even if, like, so I think if the new Crow is more geared towards, like, because, like, think about it. I don't know how old you were in 1994.
I was 7.
Oh, well, I was going to say, never mind.
But I definitely vibed with, okay, so, like, my relationship with the Crow is I was a wrestling kid. And so my relationship with the Crow is that I fucking love Sting. And then...
Is Sting in it?
What?
What?
No, okay. So there is this wrestler named Sting.
Okay.
He just retired, like... We almost did his big retirement
wrestling thing.
We almost did his big retirement match as like our first story on the show. It was like 2 weeks ago. His entire gimmick was a ripoff of Brandon Lee and the Crow, and he would just like hide up in the rafters, all dressed up like the Crow. And I was like, that guy is the coolest guy in the fucking world. I just want to be that guy. And that
he used to hide in the rafters dressed as a crow
with a baseball bat.
Fucking awesome!
It's so it's very awesome.
I wish my dad would have like tried to get me into wrestling more before he went to prison, because like the only thing he did once was give me a Stone Cold Steve Austin keychain for my birthday, and I didn't know who that was, and he like tried to explain it to me, but because I was pissed that I was getting a fucking Stone Cold Steve Austin keychain for my fucking birthday.
How old are you?
Fuck if I know, like 6 or 7. And I was like, what the fuck, Dad? I wasn't like, what the fuck, Dad? I was probably, knowing me as a kid, I was probably weirdly grateful to get anything from my dad. But I was rightfully confused. And so I think that turned me off of wrestling for a while. That might be why it took you so long to get me into wrestling.
Yeah.
Because my dad ruined it for me in a really weird, indirect way.
Yeah, because it was like the one thing he like
tried to connect with me on, but didn't even do a good job, because he was just like, here you go, kid, it's Stone Cold Steve Austin. And I'm like, I don't know who that is, Dad. And then he probably explained it a little bit, but it's not like he was also like, and we're gonna watch wrestling together and it's gonna be fun. He was just like, here's this keychain, probably off of my car key lanyard, because I fucking forgot it was your birthday.
William says, oh my god, look in the rafters, it's Sting, which is accurate. That's what would be said. And Snoopy says, everyone wanted to be that guy. That's accurate. Rome says, Sting, definitely a big entry point for many. Yeah. Also, Rome, thanks for gifting Vince a sub yesterday. I saw that afterwards, and you're wonderful. But yeah, it's that was my start to be, and then you find out later as you're a moody teen that was all what that was based on. It's that it was based on this movie, The Crow, and the head movie has this tragic history, and it has this amazing, insane soundtrack. And then you watch The Crow, and you're like, oh man, and it's based off this comic book, and then like your entire personality becomes obsessed with it for a bit. The guy who wrote James O'Barr, who wrote the original comic, regrets writing the comic at this point. Because
why?
So it was very personal, like dealing with like loss and tragedy, moody piece that he wrote. It's a pretty incredible work, but it is very much that just turned into this whole thing that is outside of his control that also led to Brandon Lee's death. And he's just kind of like, I kind of wish I never...
That would be hard to like grapple with that a little bit.
I think he weirdly feels responsible for Brandon Lee's death, even though it's like...
Not his fault in the slightest.
In the slightest.
There's no way, but like, yeah, no, I kind of... That would make sense.
It's just one of those things. So it's a very weird situation because it's like the movie machine, the whole thing is like, we gotta make more. So they made a bunch of sequels that weren't good. The original movie is, I think, a lightning in a bottle thing where it's just like you can't remake that or redo it. I get this pitch of like, hey, this is what this character would probably be now. He would probably be a Machine Gun Kelly looking motherfucker. Like,
yeah, because that's.
But I also get everyone on the internet going like, no, thank you. But it's not for them. Like, it's not for the 40-year-olds, right?
That's what I was going to say, too, is, like, we got to remember that, like, 19-year-olds now are like, thinking that...
All those kids with the X's.
Yeah, they're going to love
They're going to be like,
movie.
oh, my gosh, this movie's so good. It speaks to my soul.
And I love that for them. They should be able to get to experience that because, you know, like, as little goth kids, that's how we felt.
Bill Skarsgård looks hot in it.
He does.
Like... as the guy who is like never the hottest Skarsgård by a mile.
Isn't he kind of hot though in
It? Does that really go for
what
you?
The fuck?
I need to start putting on the makeup.
No, stop. No. Oh god, I hate that movie. It makes me so uncomfortable. Which is what it's intended to do, but like shit, what's he in that movie with the Barbarian? Is he in Barbarian?
He's in Barbarian
for like a second, but like he's really hot in that second that he's in it, which is kind of probably not good because he gives spoilers for Barbarian. He gives kind of serial killer vibes a little bit.
Yeah. If you haven't watched that movie, you should watch it.
Oh,
but
it's very good.
He has to play both sides of a role because you don't know if he's a good guy or a bad guy until that scene goes where it goes.
Yeah.
And he plays both very, very well.
He do. What else is he in though? That's also is he in Infinity Pool?
No, that's Alexander.
That's Alexander. Yeah.
And
okay.
Rome
I get
says
him.
Tough for anyone to be hotter than Alexander, and that's true.
This is true.
That man is just Norse as fuck.
Yep.
Yeah, he was Pennywise in it. Yeah, but that's kind of the big Bill roles. I've not seen Bill in a ton of... I'm sure there's other stuff that'd be like, oh yeah, he's in that, but
yeah,
none of it's coming to mind. Okay. Pornhub bans Texas.
I heard about that.
This comes from Oscar Gonzalez over at Gizmodo. It's going to be a little harder to find porn in the Lone Star State. Pornhub is no longer available to Texas residents thanks to a lawsuit from the state's attorney general. Horny Texans saw a very unsexy message when they visited the previously mentioned porn sites on Thursday. As you know, your elected officials in Texas are requiring I can't say the word requiring right now.
Requiring?
Thank you. Us to verify your age before allowing you access to our website. The message reads, unfortunately, the Texas law for age verification is ineffective, haphazard, and dangerous. Until the real solution is offered, we have made the difficult decision to completely disable access to our website in Texas. Pornhub's sexy stepsister sites RedTube, Brazzers, and YouPorn.
I like all the puns in this
they're
article.
pretty great.
It's 10 out of 10.
Are also showing the same message.
Wait, they're saying that they are shutting down access to the website because they can't verify people's ages in such a way that is efficient and effective? So
this is... different states are passing laws that it's like, hey, when you set up your spicy account thing, how you had to like
verify my ID.
You had to like completely submit a picture of your driver's license and all that stuff.
You have to, I think now, or maybe you also had to when I did it, but you have to post a picture of yourself with your ID and the date.
So states are starting to require that in order to access these sites. The argument that Pornhub's parent company was the MindGeek or whatever they are.
I don't know.
I forget their name. They keep changing it. It's ALO, according to this article.
ELO.
Their argument against it is that people aren't going to do that, and it's just going to drive people to sites that aren't doing the things that Pornhub's doing to make sure that like it's all Gucci content on there.
Oh, yeah, I guess that makes sense.
In that, places like Pornhub are forced to follow regulations, but all those other smaller, weirder sites won't.
Smaller, weirder sites.
Or like foreign sites,
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
And so as this happens in different states, Pornhub is just shutting down the state, hoping to get people mad enough that
it gets reversed.
So back in February, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton filed lawsuit against ALO, Pornhub's parent company, for failing to enforce the state's age verification law. The legislation went into effect last September and requires adult sites like Pornhub to obtain digital identification for users verifying they're of legal age to view porn. Last week, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit ruled in favor of Texas, ruling that the state doesn't violate the First Amendment. ALO said it's not finished in its legal battle for the right of every red-blooded adult American
to access hardcore porn.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is not the end, said Alex Kikesi, vice president of brand and community for ALO, in an emailed statement on Thursday. We're reviewing options and consulting with our legal team. We'll continue to fight for our industry and the performers that legally earn a living, and will continue to appeal through all available judicial recourse to recognize that this law is unconstitutional. Texas is part of a growing number of states that are finding the largest porn sites no longer interested in sticking around. Montana and North Carolina saw their access to Pornhub and its sister sites go away at the beginning of the year. Arkansas, Mississippi, Utah, Louisiana, and Virginia have also either lost access or will lose access due to their own age verification laws. The governor of Indiana signed his state's age verification law on Wednesday. Snoopy says, I'm against it, but I'm against most government-related restrictions. Yeah, that makes sense. It's a weird, kind of crazy thing. Personally, I think we've lived through an age of porn that is similar to what our parents and grandparents lived through with cigarettes, where like the way that people talk about, we used to be able to smoke on a plane, and I just think it's going to turn into one of the things that, we're going to be telling our grandchildren, just like how accessible it was. And people,
we're going to be talking to our grandchildren about how accessible porn was.
Sure.
I'm not.
I just think it's going to seem crazy to like 2 or 3 generations from now.
Yeah.
I think it's just going to seem batshit insane. That's just like,
fair.
Oh yeah, you just opened the phone and it was all right there. They're like, oh, you didn't have to like
sell your soul first.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't know. I'm with you, Snoopy. That was because, man, when they started making it so you couldn't smoke cigarettes in restaurants, I was like ready to fight. I was just like, the bar owners should be able to decide what they do for everything. I was so angry. And then doing stand-up comedy too, it was part of the vibe, right? Like you would go stand up on stage and it would be like this smoky haze over the crowd. And it's like, when that got taken away, it felt weird. It felt like a piece of the experience was gone. And for 10 straight years, I sat and I complained about it and was just like, this was stupid. And then I got a gig at Soaring Eagle where you can smoke like a chimney in there. Mm-hmm. It is completely sanctioned. And I went and I stepped up on stage and I almost didn't make it through my set.
Yeah.
After 10 years of complaining, and I was like, I got off, my eyes were watering. I couldn't see, I could barely breathe. And I was just like, how did we live like this? We just lived like this and it was fine. And I fought it, and
they let kids in smoking sections of restaurants and shit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I remember, because my grandpa was doing the same thing because we didn't, I swear to God, like, I'm not hallucinating this, because like my grandpa used to smoke a lot before I was very young, but like he stopped smoking when I was like maybe 10 or 11 or something. Maybe after that, but I definitely was very young. But I remember like going to restaurants and my grandpa being like, "Is there a smoking section? I need to smoke.
Yeah.
I cannot function without a cigarette."
Smoking in a bar was the best. I'm not sure I could handle it now, but like, yeah, you get a few in you and you're just like sitting there smoking and.
Oh, well, I didn't go to bars. We just went to like restaurants.
Well, yeah, I mean, but that was like my thing at the time when they made that rule. I was like, bars and comedy clubs should still be able to do it. And then for a while there was like there was those couple bars you knew that were like they still let you smoke in there, and you're like, good. Now I would probably die. By the way,
I forgot to remind you this time, and you're remembering yourself. Yeah. Good job.
Dork Duck Daily is brought to you by That Effin' Guy. That Effin' Guy buys comic books, toys, cars, video games, arcade games, jukeboxes, pinball machines, or anything else cool or collectible. No collection too big or too small, cash paid on the spot. Just make sure you tell him Dork Duck sent you, so give us a little kickback. Helps keep the show on the air. Just give it a call at 269-358-7534. That's 269-358-7534. So in case you got a bunch of crow stuff sitting around and you're like, now's the time.
The time is now. I can't crack my back, and I need to.
Is it because you're in a spinny chair?
No.
And like as you turn, the chair spins with you?
I was holding the chair still, but...
Dylan says little peep is what my wife calls me. Wait. Oh, come on. All right. I appreciate that. Let's go on to The Bear.
The Bear.
TV show. You may have heard of it. Possibly.
Don't even talk to me about this show. I love this show.
The Bear is getting ahead of the rush by filming its third and fourth seasons back to back. This comes from William Hughes over at AV Club. And what will presumably come as something of a relief to the show's fans and heartbreaking news to anybody else hoping to win an Emmy. There's even more of The Bear on the way, sooner than previously reported. This is per Deadline, which reports that the beloved Hulu show, which very quickly became one of the most celebrated series on TV by the time of its second season, rolled around last year, has apparently been quietly renewed for its fourth season, which is being filmed back-to-back with its upcoming third. Said third season, still the only one to be officially announced, is currently scheduled to come out this June.
Wait, this June?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck, yeah.
So far, FX/Hulu have yet to confirm the news, which started popping up after the local Chicago outlets just noticed that the show seemed to have kept filming after its third season commitments were done.
Just kept going.
They're like, and I love how invested Chicago is too, where they're just like, guys, they're still filming. It's still going.
I love that.
They were supposed to wrap.
We should. Because they film in Chicago. Mm-hmm. Yeah, all of it.
The back-to-back filming is intended to accommodate the very crowded schedules of its stars because we're not sure if you noticed, but Jeremy Allen White, Ayo Edib, I don't know, never know how to say her name. Edib. I need Emmanuel here because he can say it like that.
Oh, I can't either. Don't feel bad.
Edibiri, I think. No, she's wonderful. And Iban Moss Bachrach are all kind of a thing right now. Do you get that? That pun?
No.
Because he's also kind of a thing right now, but he's very much a thing right now. He got cast as the Thing in Fantastic Four, remember?
No, I don't remember.
Okay. Dragging their various sackloads of statues from gig to gig as the entertainment industry as a whole wakes up to their talents.
We should, during C2E2 this year, try to go to some of the places in Chicago.
Yeah.
Where they filmed.
Okay. We usually run out of time because we're.
Let's make time.
Okay, we'll try.
Okay. We better.
The Bear is incredible.
It's so good.
It's maybe my favorite show I've seen in a very long time, and everyone I talk to that finally watches it is like, oh my gosh, is that the best TV show ever? And the few people left on the planet that haven't watched it are probably like, I'm so sick of hearing about this show, and I get it.
Yeah, like, if you're those people that like haven't watched it, but everyone won't shut up about it. I'm sometimes that person and then if it's like too many people are talking about it, I'm like, this feels like a demand now. I can't watch this show.
Is it demand avoidance?
Yeah, it's like a autism thing, but like I also an ADHD thing, but like I've tried to like break that by just being like, okay, people are talking about the show. I'm going to at least watch one episode of it.
Snoopy saying, this is the first I've heard about it. What is this TV show? It's called The Bear.
It's so good.
It's, Drew, we're talking about The Bear. It's on its surface, it's just a show about a guy whose brother was the Punisher. He wasn't actually the Punisher, he was the actor.
Also, he was Shane in The Walking Dead.
Yeah, that guy
yeah.
Was his brother who like was running the family restaurant while the kid from Shameless was like off being like a snooty, fancy culinary expert genius chef guy.
Yeah,
and then Shane from The Walking Dead / Punisher dies and leaves the restaurant to him, so he comes home and with all of his snooty restaurant experience and like tries to save his family restaurant is the basic pitch of the show. It's becomes a lot of things beyond that. It's a pretty incredible thing.
Yes.
Will it stay incredible? I don't know. But the first 2 seasons of that show are maybe some of the best television I've ever seen.
One of the episodes, I will not spoil it, but you should put your Fitbit on and track your fucking heart rate, because if you know what episode I'm talking about. Yeah. I'm fucking sure that my heart rate was like through the fucking roof for about like 70% of that episode. The tension and like you can feel the family trauma through your TV. Like it's a lot, but it's
also the family trauma is so recognizable that you're just like,
yep.
Both in the ways you're like, this feels comfy, and you're like, this feels comfy.
Yeah.
Like,
no. Yeah, no, it's very good, and I kind of want to do a rewatch at some point.
Drew says, I don't know who any of those people are in my actor knowledge repository. It's Kimmy isn't awake yet. Yeah, that's fair. Snoopy says, I'm currently watching Home Improvement, best TV show ever. Yeah, I don't think I heard of The Bear. It's not on Netflix, it's on Hulu.
Is it on anything else though? Because it is FX technically.
It's on FX. It's on regular TV on FX, and then it's on Hulu.
Yeah. Watch it. It's so good.
It's a pretty great show. Okay. FCC officially raises minimum broadband metric from 25 megabits to 100 megabits. It's a very important story.
What does that mean? I'm so dumb and I don't understand things like that. I'm not dumb. I just never.
As I said, this is a very important story. It's gonna sound really boring, but we're gonna try to do our best to get through this.
All right, I'm gonna check out.
No, we need you to check in.
No.
You got to occasionally say like goofy or silly things.
I can't.
So we can.
I'm gonna vomit.
The commission also sets a long-term goal of raising broadband metric to 1 gigabits for downloads, 500 megabits for uploads. This is by Michael Can over at. Got this. We can do it. It's over at PC Mag. After years of talk, the Federal Communications Commission officially raised its definition for minimum broadband speeds from 25 megabits to 100 megabits.
Well, now you can download porn instead of watching it on Pornhub if you're in Texas.
Or watch it. So, like, this is... Okay, we'll try. Okay, so this is them saying that, like, hey, Comcast, Frontier.
Besties.
Yeah. It's illegal if your service lines aren't delivering internet that's at least this fast.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. The funny thing is this happened yesterday, and all Comcast customers got an email that was like, because you're such a good customer, we're raising.
Oh, fuck you, Comcast. What?
Yeah.
Wow. They probably didn't expect people to like read an article about it. They're like,
No,
oh, these fucks are going to be
I read you the headline, and you were like, no, thank you.
Yeah, these fucks are going to be so bored by that. No, we're just going to make them feel like it's completely our decision. We're patting them on the back for that. Okay. I see you, Comcast.
On Thursday, the commission voted 3-2 to raise its broadband metric from 25 megabits for downloads, 3 megabits for uploads. Going forward, the FCC will define high-speed broadband as 100 megabits for downloads and 20 megabits for uploads.
So Comcast is Xfinity, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. They did that rebanding partially because they were the most hated company. There's all these articles that came out that they were the most hated company in the world, and then very quickly they were like,
they're not on my not shit list because they keep emailing me about that
the cable box that
my
California
ex stole, and now they're like, give us $140, and I'm like, no, because my fucking ex stole it. Like, so it's probably, honestly, me not paying it is probably doing me less of a favor than just paying the stupid thing. But it's like a matter of principle for me at this point, because I'm just like, and I was a dumbass for putting the internet in my name in the first place and not like making him do it. I think also the electric was in my name too. Man, I really got stiffed in that situation. But anyway, no, like, they should have like a system in place for if your fucking crazy ex steals your modem. Like,
raising the speed metric is important because it helps the commission determine which areas in the country are receiving adequate internet speeds. Because that's the thing now. The law's changed for like if Comcast isn't doing its job in serving an area, the government is now allowed to come in and give that area internet. Okay. And they were using there's still spots where like Comcast is not going out and giving people internet, but they're doing just enough to stop the government from going in there either.
Oh, okay.
Because these laws are weird. In 2015, the FCC raised the metric from 4 megabits to 25. But since then, U.S. senators, government watchdogs, and FCC officials have urged the commission to raise the metric even higher, citing the U.S. growing reliance on the internet services and apps. Growing
reliance is kind of a sad statement.
Well, so it's the closest analog to it. Snoopy says, I'm pretty sure they're still the most hated company. Probably. Drew says, yeah, but does it include a regulation to keep Comcast and its ilk from raising the price of high-speed internet because of the charge? No, that's going to be a thing, too. They're definitely going to do that down the line.
Great.
Snoopy says, it's bullshit. Each company has a monopoly because I have charged Spectrum on internet. My secondary options are no internet. That's it. You're correct. And the other thing that happened was there was one city, I forget which state it was in, where the city was just like, okay, we're going to provide a better service. And they provided a better service, and it was great. And everyone in the city was happy with it. And
weren't we all supposed to get that Elon Musk Sky internet or whatever? Wasn't that a thing that was supposed to happen?
So that exists, and that's helped out people in rural areas quite a bit.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that happened at all.
But it's like, it's still not as ideal as like the ground internet stuff.
Solid. Okay.
But like this one city got together and they made their own internet, and like everyone in the city was really happy. And then Comcast went and made it a law that no other cities in America could do that.
Ooh.
Yeah. No, it's gross. But it's very similar. If you look at like the history of like electricity, it almost lines up to the century mark. Where you look at like, there were still sections where like, you know, people in rural houses and stuff didn't have electricity, and you had electric companies going like, well, it's just not worth it for us to run lines out there. And you just had this thing of just like no, this is part of modern life. We need a governing body to be like, no, you have to put electric lines out there. It has to like hit this specific metric of quality. And then you still had people at the time being like, yeah, but it's electricity. It's not that important. And that's kind of like how we talk about internet stuff right now, even though kids can't go to school without internet anymore.
No, that's true.
They don't, at a certain point, they don't have snow days. They have home virtual days they're supposed to do. And if these kids don't even have, and that's to become even more true 10 years from now.
Yeah.
So, Dylan says, living in very rural Hillsdale County, Starlink has been a godsend. It's expensive, but with it, I would still switch to cable in a heartbeat if it was made available. Yeah. That's the thing. It's a godsend, though, for people with...
I forget which internet company my grandparents have, but they're in Morenci, which is also a very tiny town. It's not Comcast. It's like D&P Communications or something. And like... But that one is interesting because this is going to sound really stupid. Like, the words coming out of my mouth are going to sound like I'm an idiot. So be prepared for that. But I didn't know that, like, companies like DMP Communications could give you... I thought it was just the big internet companies. And then if they didn't offer your service out in that area, like, you didn't get the internet. And DMP Communications, I thought, was just, like, for phone lines and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then they started offering internet, and it was really confusing to me because I was like, where are they getting the internet? Like,
where does the internet come?
Well, no, I'm serious, though. Like, I was like...
You watch the IT Crowd where she has a box and she's like, this is the internet.
No.
Oh.
No.
You haven't watched the IT Crowd?
No.
Oh, it's a British show, so there's, like, only, like... 18. We can blow right through that thing. It's amazing. We need to watch it. But Dylan says Morenci is like a big city compared to where I live. My neighbors on both sides of my house are Amish. Yeah, that's Hillsdale County. I grew up in Hillsdale County.
I lived in Waldron for like 2 seconds. Well, not 2 seconds. It was actually like 4 years of nightmare.
Graduated from Reading High School. Had a whole graduating class of like 52 people. It was wonderful.
Dang.
And Drew says, internet has reached similar importance to everyday life as electricity. It needs to be reclassified as a utility. While we're at it, utilities need to have actual proving regulations. Power companies jacking up prices during the height of summer is fucking up. Yeah. Yeah. It's weird. This stuff is weird. And it's a lot of it I would have figured out would have gotten figured out by now, but it'll I imagine it'll be something much like the other story. I think it's going to be something a generation or two from now. They'd be like, really? There's no internet? I have trouble explaining the internet to my kids, like what the internet is, because to them it's like trying to explain electricity and what doesn't work when the electricity's off. They have no concept of what does or doesn't work
when the internet
goes out. It's a very weird...
I think it was a big, huge battle because when we actually took the internet away from them as a punishment, I guess. I don't know. The word punishment seems intense, but I guess that is what it was. But like,
accurate word.
Yeah. I remember them being like, wait, so we can't play certain games on the Switch with no internet?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, no. They're like, why? And the Switch I have it right here. Like, it's on the Switch. Why can't I play it? I'm like,
oh, yeah. That's
you
the
need
thing.
internet. I'm sorry.
That's the thing, too. Like, so, like, you think about the weird internet stuff is, like, how many things, like, only exist in an internet space? Like, like we were talking about the movie Barbarian. There is still not a physical release of that movie.
Oh, shit, yeah.
You could only watch that movie by either having gone in theaters or watching it
on a streaming service, which you would require internet for.
Right. And so that is a piece of media that it's like if you're in a state where you don't have internet and can't get good internet, you're just not going to watch. Not that like Barbarian is like the end all be all of American culture or anything, but it's like if it's true there, where else is it true? You know?
Yeah, no, it's fair.
Ken calls us nerds. That is accurate.
It is very accurate.
And Drew says, "Today I learned Jeff's graduation class was bigger than mine." That's sad. He also says it's the information superhighway, my man. That comes into. Have you ever heard the term information superhighway?
I feel like I should have.
Okay, so like that was. I lived in a time where War Games was a thing. The movie War Games.
Okay, I was like,
in the movie War Games, there's a lot of like internet stuff in it, and they have to like use the modem where they would take the phone and they would set it on the thing by the computer, and that was like the first time any of us like saw the internet. And then the internet was in all of our houses, or about to be, but they had to like pitch it and sell it to us. So the way they pitched it and sold it to us is like, what's the internet? It's the information superhighway. That's what it was sold as.
Okay.
And then whenever you got on it, it was like.
I know. I had dial-up for most of my childhood. Thank you. Yeah. It wasn't actually. It was like, well, because I was on the internet really early. Too early, one might argue. But I had dial-up, and then for a short time, and then we switched to not dial-up.
Your mom would be like, "Can you get off the internet? I need to make a phone call."
Yeah.
It was very weird.
That is weird.
Dork Duck Daily every day is brought to you by That FN Guy. By the way, That FN Guy buys comic books, toys, cards, video games, arcade games, jukeboxes, pinball machines, or anything else cool or collectible. No collection is too big or too small. Cash paid on the spot. Make sure you tell him Dork Duck sent you, so he gives a little kickback. Helps keep the show on the air. Just give him a call at 269-358-7534. It's 269-358-7534. And we will be live later today. Doing, I think at 3 today. I think the Twitch schedule says 5, but it's 3. Because I didn't fix it from last week. But we'll be live at 3 today on Twitch. With Selena continuing her first playthrough of The Last of Us. Yeah. And that'll be happening if she survives this hangover.
We might do Whatnot later.
And we might do Whatnot later to kick that off too.
Quick little
just to like work out the. I don't know how much Whatnotting we'll do, but we need to start getting in the throes of that before we start actually scheduling it. So we might do some of that some later tonight as well. Mm-hmm. Drew says, the age of dial-up tone and Neopets. Oh, goodness. We need to get out of here. You can't say the word Neopets in front of Selena.
My Neopets are dead or starving. Then that stresses me out every night.
All right. It is time for us to take out. Thank you so much, everyone who hung out both on Facebook and on Twitch.
Yes,
thank you, everyone who's listening later in podcast feeds or watching on the YouTubes. We appreciate you all so much. And until next time, we still need a closing phrase. Do you have a closing phrase?
That big breath of air was my closing phrase.
Until next time, be honest, be kind, be useful, live a good fucking life.
That's what we tell our kids.
I don't say them to live a good fucking life.
No, but you say be honest, be kind, be useful.
Yeah, be honest, be kind, be useful, live a good fucking life. Bye! Bye.